Welcome to A Muscle Maintenance with In Shape Fitness. I'm Coach Kim, and today's podcast is called Sustainable Everyday Fitness. If you're wondering if that 2 to 3 times a week hitting the gym is ever going to produce the results that you desire, just think about the idea that you will have to do the 2 to 3 times per week to the gym, or, substitute in the fancy bike spin class or boot camp class or yoga class or whatever it is, but just substitute that in and think about the long-term schedule that you have to keep to maintain your goals in fitness through your entire life. And guess what? As you get older, the mandate to exercise and maintain your health becomes even more significant, and it's even more difficult considering the basic reality of biology, the way that our bodies age. So your sustainability plan in terms of fitness is just as important as the goal setting and the sort of tactical perspective you take on what workouts to do, what muscles to target if you are going to the gym, what sort of rate of or ratio of cardiovascular versus strength training types of workout plans that you have. It has to be sustainable. You've got to be able to get through a long-term plan and think about the effects of your health choices in terms of your overall life. Not even mentioning the fact that the carbon footprint of the fitness industry has gone up so much in the last couple of decades, and we really have a significant issue with the future of fitness in terms of the way that our earth is affected by the human population and the population that's growing, and how we can figure. I guess I'm thinking about all of these things because I'm recording this podcast on Earth Day and thinking about the need to have a place to go when that requires the demolition of ground space that is needed for other things that live on this planet. Something that we've been thinking about a lot at In Shape Fitness. So I'm going to talk to you today about 7 basic exercises that you can do in your home every day. And I like this plan because, number one, it takes that gym sort of schedule business out of your out of the busyness that you already have to attend to in your life. All the meetings, all of the hurrying, the busy, crazy schedule that you keep from the moment that you wake up until the moment that you go, hit the pillow at the end of the day. You're on track to do a bunch of different things. So that's one of the reasons why the gym schedule is just not sustainable. But what you can do is get up 10 minutes early. So I have 7 exercises that you can do, just 7. Now they're 7 exercises, a couple of which are combination exercises. They're sort of the combo of several exercises you'll see in the sequence here. But it is just 7 moves, about 1 minute each. And as we begin to go through them, you'll notice that there's nothing new and crazy. We're just targeting every single muscle group, your entire body. We're moving in multiple planes of motion, multiple dimensions, and we're doing a lot of activity with the body. Of course, no equipment is needed, and your shoes don't even need to be on your feet. You don't need fancy gym clothes. You literally can do these exercises in your pajamas after you wake up in the morning, which is what I do in my apartment in New York City. Or I'm actually on vacation with my daughter this week, so I'm recording from Virginia. But your ability to get up, roll out of bed, and get these exercises out of the way with really short period of time, 10, 12 minutes max, is a sustainable plan. And it really is, because if you're one of those people that gets up and has so much to do in the morning, you can wake up 10 or 15 minutes before you normally wake up and just get it out of the way. Even if you have a plan for like a big anchor workout, like if you're a runner or you like going to meet a friend for a spin class, or you really appreciate heading to, a hardcore boot camp every once in a while, do it. That's fine. But this regimen, a la getting up and brushing your teeth and eating your breakfast and taking your shower and getting yourself ready to go out for the day, this 10 minutes of time with your body is the way to turn on all of your circuitry. It turns on your brain. It boosts your metabolism. It calibrates your breathing patterns and your posture, which is the first thing we're actually going to do together. If you are sitting at your desk or sitting somewhere and you can stand up, please do stand up. And let's quickly just run through a quick postural systems check. I love just having about 30 seconds to think about your body parts, where they are in space in relation to the rest of your body, and then taking a couple of deep breaths before we get started. We're going to start on the floor, but I do want you to stand up and think about where your head is, because I don't mean figuratively, I mean your physical 10-pound head. It's the ballast of your body. It helps maintain your center of gravity. So if you are constantly craning your head forward to, see the screen, whether it's a device that you're looking down at or maybe peering across your desk to be close enough to your screen to see very well, you might have a condition that deviates from your natural body's posture. So you want to make sure that your ears and your shoulders line up. That means getting your head back. So if you're standing up against a wall, or maybe seated against a chair, an upright chair, not like, a cool, casual, laid back chair. But if you are sitting, for example, driving a car, your head should touch the back of the headrest. If you're standing up, your head should touch the wall. All right. And then turn your head to the right and turn to the left slowly, so that you can get a sense for what your range is. You should be able to turn 180 degrees your head. So you turn 90 degrees one way and then turn 90 degrees another way. That should be your range. It should feel okay. I know that if you spend a lot of time craning the neck, you might feel a little bit of tightness, but that's just something to think about. Then make sure that your chest is open. Your arms are hanging down beside your body with your palms slightly open, not pointed towards your thighs. And then make sure that your hips, your knees, and your toes are lined up. Make sure that you are using all four corners of each of your feet, as opposed to pressing into the floor with one hip more than the other, one leg more than the other, or where you might collapse at your heels, or maybe turn your toes out and mash your heels into the floor. Just think about that calibration, that tall stand in neutral posture position, and that is your starting point. Take a couple of deep breaths in through your nose and out through your mouth. Now, I'm not kidding about this Earth Day and the sustainability of the fitness industry business. I did some research on this. I write about it in my book a little bit, and I actually really would like to write just a book about the carbon footprint of the fitness industry, because it drives me bananas to think about all of the equipment I see. And I see a lot of equipment, a lot of fancy gyms in Manhattan where I see clients. Most of my clients have access to a private facility, and it might just be a small room in the basement of a building, but it does require that, or someone wants to get equipment in there. And so inevitably there are heavy weights, there are machines, there are treadmills, there are bicycles, all fine. However, you have to think about where these pieces of equipment come from and what their load is on our resources as a planet. And the best example I give is that if you turn on a treadmill and you jog for a half an hour, experts have estimated that you burn about 17 light bulbs worth of electrical energy through that exercise experience. Now, I think that's pretty significant. I just think we ought to think about the consequences of our actions, and by doing these exercises in your home before you head out for the day, you're going to take a small little bite, tiny little chewable bite out of your own personal carbon footprint. So let's drop to the floor. We're going to go through the 7. The first one is the combination of a cat camel and a bird dog. So if you get on all fours, a lot of these, the sequence is going to be based on the starting position. So you're in quadruped for the first position and for the first exercise. So quadruped position is hands and knees. Your hips and your knees line up, and then your shoulders and your wrists line up vertically. And then the cat and the camel are a yoga pose that everybody knows pretty much. You drop your head like a bowling ball, round up the spine, take a deep breath. And then as you're exhaling, you lift your head and your chest and you contract your lower back. Now, you flatten your back and then you extend one arm out, the right arm and the left leg, making a straight horizontal line, fingertips to the tips of your toes in that diagonal dimension, and then return to your starting position. Now, do another scared cat. Drop your head like a bowling ball, round up your spine. Take a deep breath. As you exhale, you are going to contract your lower back, lift your head and your chest, then immediately flatten your back again, and then the bird dog with the other side. Left arm, right leg, straight out in the diagonal dimension. So from the tips of your fingers to the tips of your toes, one horizontal line. One more time, we're going to go through the entire sequence. So we go back to the cat camel, flatten the back after that big deep breath, bird dog, right arm, left leg combination, and then return to the starting position. Drop your head like a bowling ball one last time and round up your spine, and then lift your head and your chest, contract your lower back. As you deeply breathe, then you're going to flatten your back and extend the left arm and the right leg out. So that was about a minute. It is the cat, camel, bird dog. Cat, camel, bird dog. Just this second, as I'm talking, I said those 4 words. I realized that there were 4 animals I just mentioned. Cat, camel, bird, dog. Okay, so there we go. The next exercise only has one name, and it's called the plank. So for 1 minute, you're going to lower your body down to your elbows, and you are going to make sure that your elbows and your shoulders are lined up, and you're going to walk your feet out, and you're going to position yourself into a plank. And again, you're holding this position for 1 minute. So your time is going. Now, these are things you need to know about plank. Your butt needs to stay down. You want to move as little as possible. In fact, as you get into the depths of this 1 minute interval, which you're about 15 seconds in now, you will begin to want to sort of swirl around a little bit. You want to make sure that you maintain control over that. So keep your butt down. You're coming up on the halfway point here. In fact, you are at halfway now. And you want to breathe. You want to inhale through your nose, exhale through your mouth. Maybe some shallow breaths, that's okay. If you have to drop from your legs, your feet down to your knees, that's okay as well. You've got 15 more seconds to go. You just want to keep moving. You want to keep maintaining that abdominal contraction, the back trunk rather contractions. You've got 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1. Excellent. So that's 2 exercises. Your cat, camel, bird, dog was the first exercise. Now you have done your plank. Excellent. Now what I want you to do is flatten your belly down to your belly all the way for a Superman pose. Your arms extend straight out. I'm going to do a couple of fancy maneuvers with the Superman. And this is hard, so you might have to work up to it a little bit, but it is worth it to spend a minute working your back and your abs, your side abs this way. So you're lifting up your arms and your legs into a Superman as you exhale, and then lower down. Let's do 2 of those just to orient your back a little bit. Lift up again. Now, when you lift up the second time, what I want you to do is I want you to, without lowering your limbs, try to roll your body over to your back. And then as you get to your back, you want to hold your legs up and hold your arms up at the same time. And then turn back to your tummy in the opposite direction. So you're using the strength of your trunk to rotate your body, turn completely over, log roll over, and then return to the starting position in the opposite direction. If you can, you've got another few seconds. If you can try it in the opposite direction, it doesn't really matter all that much. It's a hard move to do, but this Superman log roll combination is another combination that I like to use with clients that are learning to or trying to take control over their mobility as they feel that they're losing mobility as they're getting older. And sometimes we do this exercise on the bed. Okay, the next thing I want you to do is a downward facing dog. And then we're gonna stand up onto your feet. So downward dog, probably something you know how to do already, is hands on the floor, butt in the air. You make a triangle with your body. Your legs are one leg. Your trunk and your arms are the other leg. And then of course the floor is the long leg. And just hold this position for a couple seconds. You want to stretch out. You should feel the stretch down the back of your leg, your calf muscles and your hamstrings. You can splay your fingers so that you don't mash the heel of your hand into the floor to distribute your body weight. If you can, revert into an upward facing dog. That is a really good use of your time as well. One of the things that I do every single morning is something I call a dynamic dog. So it's downward dog, upward dog, back and forth dynamically. And I perform 21 of those every single day. So that is an exercise that is a little more advanced, but if you can work yourself up to doing dynamic dogs for about a minute, you won't do 21. It takes a couple of minutes to do 21 of them, but it is a really invigorating exercise. Okay, moving right along, I want you to stand up onto your feet now. This is, so let's see, let's go back through them real fast. So we did the cat, camel, bird, dog, and then we did the plank, then we did the Superman log roll, then we did the dynamic or the downward dog. Now we're going to do a squat lunge combination. So you're going to do a standard squat into a lunge, and again, just for 1 minute. When you squat into a lunge, when you squat into a squat, you're going to separate your feet about shoulder width apart, and then you're going to sit down and back into an imaginary chair. As you rise up, you're going to lift up the left leg, take a step forward, and bend both knees. Now your feet are pretty wide, so this is a lunge that doesn't tilt you or knock you off balance. At least it shouldn't. Though, of course, if you have knee issues, you're going to have to modify the bending of the knee part of it. Even just taking a big step forward and bending the front knee is perfectly fine if you need to sort of get comfortable with the combination of this move. But then you step the foot back, you go into another squat, and then when you come up out of the second squat, you take a big step out to the front with the right leg. So it's squat, one lunge, squat, the other leg lunge, and that is back and forth. Another squat combination that I like is the side leg lift. It isn't a side kick. We call it a sumo squat, but it's a lift of the leg out to the side during the that period of, I'm having a technical problem here. Let's just make sure that we are okay. Okay, we're good. That side lift so that you isolate the stability, the balance of one of your legs at a time. And that is a combination exercise that I also really love. Okay, so that is number 5 exercise. We've got 2 more to go. Now, you're not going to like the next one that I am going to ask you to do, but the one thing that I really try to incorporate into every single exercise regimen is some jumping. So you're going to either do jumping jacks, or you're going to do a bunny hop, or something that I just say to people is pretend like you're jumping rope, but you're not going to have the rope, and you're going to do it for 1 minute. All right, so let's do that now. So for some people, this is really easy. For other people, it's just really annoying. But here's the deal. Plyometric exercises are really valuable in terms of your neuromuscular response mechanisms as you age, and your cells, not the nerves themselves, but the tissues that are affected by the nerve endings, as they begin to atrophy, they're less susceptible to atrophy if those neuromuscular responses keep getting introduced into the body. It's a really bad way of putting it, but it's a really valuable component to all home-based exercise regimens, which is why jumping jacks is kind of the easiest thing to do. You're done with your 1 minute, by the way. So that is the jumping part of the exercise regimen. That's exercise number 6. The last exercise, I'm going to leave you on the floor. It is a hip bridge. It's my favorite thing to do in the morning, a hip bridge where your knees are bent, you're looking up at your ceiling, your hips are lifted into the air, and there are so many variations of hip bridge that you can do. So I do a different one pretty much every single day. The basic one, obviously, is for you to plant your feet so that your knees and your ankles are lined up, and then you lift up your hips, and you just want to make sure that when your hips are up in the air, that your feet are flat on the floor. I see mistakes in this very simple beginning of the exercise all the time. People want to lift their toes up. And the reason that they want to do that is because the back of the leg is so weak. When you press your toes down, when you maintain that flat foot position, you activate the butt and the hamstrings. So keep doing that as a component to your sustainable exercise regimen, because if you work in a job where you are seated all day, your hip flexors and your hamstrings are 2 of the most, affected, negatively impacted muscle groups by the seated position. And so you want to make sure that you take good care of them. A hip bridge every single day is a really great way to do that. That is the regimen. If you have any questions or you want to hear more about these 7 exercises, I'll go through them really fast one more time. We started with the cat, camel, bird, dog. Then we did a plank. Then we did Supermans into log rolls. Then we did downward facing dog or dynamic dog, whichever you can do. Then you stood up and you did some squats combo with lunge. And then we did the jumping jacks or bunny hops. And then we ended back on the floor with your hip bridge. Have a great rest of the day, and I will see you again next week with another new short AM muscle maintenance routine. I'm Coach Kim from InShape Fitness. Have a great day.